Let's work on an order together. Except today, not only are we going to be making 4 adjustable rings, but we're also going to be making one of our new sterling silver rings. So here's this person's whole order. As you can see, they got quite a bit of jewelry. They spent $66 total, and we're pretty much just going to be working on their whole order together. We're going to make everything except the necklace. I did make that one off camera, but let's get started with the 4 adjustable rings first. These are all the stamps that we're going to be working with today. As you can see, we got some flowers, a paw print, a butterfly, and a mushroom. We're going to start with the paw print one first, just because that's what was first on their order. And this ring does come with 2 initials as well. With that being, they wanted the letters J and S. And like all of our designs, we have to start with what's in the middle first, just because it helps me make sure everything else is centered. So I'm going to start with the paw print stamp and then stamp the initials on each side of that. And that's pretty much it for that ring. Now we're going to move on to the second one, which is our custom birth month flower ring. And in case you're new here, for this design, you basically get to pick as many flowers as you'd like, and I just turned them into a pattern ring design. So this person wanted the flowers for April, August, and October. I started with the April one first in the middle and then stamped the other 2 on each side of that, and I just repeat that pattern all the way around the ring. And now we're going to move on to the third ring, which is our minimalist butterfly ring, and this is probably the most simple one we're going to make throughout this whole video. I just stamped the butterfly right in the middle, and that's it. Okay, let's get started on the 4th and final adjustable ring. They did order our mushroom ring, which actually has 2 design options. We have a minimalist design along with a pattern design. They did choose the pattern option, so for this one, I'm just going to start with the mushroom stamp right in the middle, and instead of continuing to stamp it that way, I actually fully turn the stamp upside down to continue the pattern. Hopefully that makes sense, but once all 4 rings are fully stamped, I put them together and add on this ink. That way the engraving's more visible, and typically at this point I would wipe off the excess ink. However, we do still have one more ring to make, so I'll show you how those rings turned out at the end. But as for right now, we're getting rid of our original video setup because we're going to be working with fire. So this person ordered one of our thick sterling silver stacker bands in a size 12.5. So I'm just cutting the metal down to size and then shaping it into a circle. However, at this point, it's not meant to be a perfect circle by any means, because we're actually going to take the 2 ends of this piece of metal and make sure that they're perfectly put together. That way there's no gap. This is just because once it's time to solder it, we want to make sure there's absolutely no space between the 2 ends. That way the solder will flow perfectly. So here's what it's supposed to look like at this point. Now we're going to get to the more exciting part, which is the actual soldering. So first I'm going to add on some flux. Now I'm going to grab our solder and I'm just going to cut off a little piece. We don't need much at all. I'm not going to lie, I did almost lose the piece of solder at this point in the video, but thankfully I did find it. So I'm going to go ahead and put it by the ring band. And now we're going to fire it. If you look very closely, you could see at the exact point when the solder flows. It went perfectly for this ring. I was so happy with it. But now we're going to go ahead and quench it. That way it cools off completely and I could keep working on this piece. And then there's a lot of parts that I didn't record because I didn't want this video to be too long, but here's what it looks like so far. But anyways, here's how all 4 of the adjustable rings turned out. And here's how the sterling silver stacker band turned out. Let me know out of all 5 rings, which one's your favorite.